I feel like I've been here before, because every time I say these things, I read in an article where Keith says, "It all just happened, man." And I look like a complete twit, because I say all these kind of like, well, this is why it was this and this and this. But at the risk of that, I said that I think we should definitely spend a long time on the writing, and we did.
It clicked from the day that we just got together, Mick and myself and Charlie, down in Barbados, just to knock songs together. And after 12 bars, you know, I said, no problem, I knew this, you know. And I'm smiling, look, you know.
And we had a few firsts in Ireland when we were at Windmill Lane. You know, Charlie's coming in for a playback. Turn me up. What? It used to be, what do I want to hear it for, you know? It's only a song. But now it's kind of, right, turn me up. Yeah, it's very enthusiastic, I think, Charlie, now. We all are.
No, I never play our records anyway. No. I haven't got past Louis Armstrong yet. I never play our stuff. I haven't played this album, actually. Really? No, still in the wrapper.
Voodoo Lounge, the Rolling Stones' 20th album, released in 1994, marked a turning point for the band. With original member Bill Wyman stepping down, the Stones faced a crossroads. Change is an integral part of the band's DNA, and Voodoo Lounge captures this pivotal moment, representing an incredible reboot for the band. Today, we revisit the album's journey, from the Glimmer Twins' early songwriting sessions to its Grammy win for Best Rock Album. Hear now the story of Voodoo Lounge. After the humongous Steel Wheels and Urban Jungle tours of 1989 and 1990, the Stones kept busy with the release of the film Live at the Max, followed by new solo projects by each of the Stones. In November 1991, the Stones signed a historic $40 million deal with Virgin Records. Not present at the signing, Bill Wyman. At the end of the 1990 Urban Jungle tour, Bill had made it known to the band his intentions to leave the group, and the band decided there would be no announcement until they had found a replacement. In November of 1992, Mick and Charlie meet with Bill Wyman, hoping to have him reconsider his decision, but Bill insists he is out. Quote from Mick Jagger, "But it will be different, and it won't be easy to replace someone who's been playing in the rhythm section with Charlie and Keith for a very long time. I'm not underestimating Bill, nor underestimating the fact that it's going to be slightly different. But I think you've got to make a virtue out of these things." And in January of 1993, Bill Wyman publicly announces his departure from the Rolling Stones.
Well, I did tell the guys almost 2 years ago that I didn't really want to do it anymore. There came a time in my life when I wanted to do other things, really. And we're still great friends. I still see them and chat to them. But I just really don't want to do it anymore. I've done enough. It's 30 years.
It must be kind of a jolt to have the bass player kind of disappear after all that time.
Not really. No? That didn't worry me at all. It really doesn't worry me. People like, it never worried me at all. I just saw it as an opportunity to get a good new bass player. True. I mean, it's not the most difficult job in the world playing bass with the Rolling Stones.
The one point of saying, well, you know, one of the engines has fallen off. You know, like, we'll ignore it, it'll go away. You know, maybe we can get home on one. And
Bill was always a very under type of bass player, you know. He's the sort of guy that you'd never really knew he was playing until he stopped and the whole bottom would fall out, you know. In jazz terms, he was a bit like Walter Page used to be with Count Basie, you know. It was just, he was a rhythm section, you know. But that aside, you know, I miss him because of his humour, really, and moaning.
Especially in a band like the Stones, without like 100% commitment to it, you're dragging everybody else. And Bill, in that respect, I can look at it and say, well, you probably felt that way as well. And in a way, let's say you bowed out gracefully, you know, and leave it at that, really, you know.
Despite Bill Wyman stepping down, Mick and Keith push forward with plans for a new Rolling Stones album and get together in New York City at Mick's home to discuss. The Glimmer Twins settle on a mission statement for the new album, and the key word is focus.
I said, if we can look down the same telescope on this one, then we have a chance of making maybe one of the better ones that we've made.
We wanted it to be more direct. We wanted it to be more interesting rhythmically. We did actually sit down and say, well, what do you I think the record should be like this, and it shouldn't be like this, or whatever. And so we did actually talk intellectually about it. It wasn't a case of just feeling your way and hoping for the best.
3 months later, in April, Mick and Keith fly to Barbados to begin songwriting sessions for the album. This initial step in the Jagger-Richards process is the first building block in any new Rolling Stones album. This lays the groundwork and sets the tone for the work ahead. For the next 4 weeks, Mick and Keith make Eddie Grant's Blue Wave Studios ground zero for their private sessions. Equipped with a very basic setup, guitars, keyboard, and drums, the Glimmer Twins exchange ideas, trying out different riffs, weeding through everything and anything that would come up that could possibly turn into material for the new album.
Yeah. So we keep the sequence going and just use that as the hook. You got away with murder. You got away with words. You got away of knowing. I'm gonna have to recollect the idea again. It's coming.
On April 30th, Charlie Watts arrives in Barbados to join Mick and Keith in the writing sessions. Keith remembers, in Barbados one night, I'd gone out with Pierre, who works with me. 4 or 5 in the morning, we got back. I said, let's go to the studio. Incoming, Pierre. I had no idea what it was, but I had to switch on all the gear and get it lined up. Something had just clicked in the car on the way home. And if I let it go, if I go to sleep now, it's gone. Waiting for the machinery to be turned on, it all came out. Songwriting sessions take a brief pause as the Stones come together to return to their biggest issue, finding a replacement for Bill Wyman on bass. In mid-April, the Stones spent 5 days in New York City meeting and auditioning bass players to replace Bill Wyman. Charlie said of the audition process, "I've never auditioned anybody before. It's not horrible, it's bloody hard work. We had 4 guys a day for a week, 7 days of it. You were just bassed out, I suppose they'd call it. I couldn't hear another bass at the end of the week." A quote from Ronnie Wood from this period. "One of the songs we would play with a bass player coming to audition with us would be a blues jam, but we'd leave that to the end after starting with a couple of numbers like Brown Sugar and Miss You. The jam was important because it gave us the opportunity to see how solid they were and how well they kept with Charlie."
The rhythm section is a hard thing to change. Guitar players, hey, we come and go, you know, bass and drums, it's a tight knit, you know, and to find the right guy. So, but we were really, as usual with the Stones, just at the right moment, the right man appears.
Rising to the top of the list was Darryl Jones, who by that point already had an illustrious career playing with Miles Davis and Sting. Darryl Jones on his first meeting with the Stones. "A few hours before I auditioned, a friend who worked with the Stones called and said, 'Okay, they are probably going to play through this and this.' So I just brushed up on those tunes a little bit, and I went in and played. Even from the beginning, though, I didn't go in thinking, hey, play this like Bill Wyman played. I just learned the songs and played what I thought should be in those places. When I arrived, all the guys were very, very nice. They really made me feel comfortable from the beginning." And in the end, Mick and Keith gave the final vote to Charlie.
And trying to make up your mind on working with a guy for an hour, it's very difficult. And Mick and I were scratching our heads about it, sort of, is this going to, who do you like, when it come down to that, and then we sort of looked at each other and said, no, Charlie should choose, because it's the engine room, it's his department, And so we put it onto him, and she said, thanks a lot for putting me in the hot seat, sort of thing, and so I said, well, once in 30 years, Charlie, you can't complain.
Soon after, Darryl Jones was their man.
I'm the kind of musician, I'm not a frills musician, I'm not a, what I call a music store bass player. Some guys go in a music store and play and impress everybody. I've never been that kind of player. I really love to play songs. I like to try and make the decisions on bass that will make the song, sound good, whatever it is, whatever kind of music it is. And that, I think, is maybe why I'm here.
Darryl plays very much like Bill. He feels like playing with Bill. When you never knew Bill Wyman was playing, really. It was just a feeling you had that he was there all the time. And Daryl's that sort of, he's a very sensitive sort of player.
In fact, Daryl is a little bit of a kick, you know, and every now and then I do a double take and I see this person running by, and it's Daryl. I say, we have a bass player that moves.
While auditioning new bass players, Jagger and Richards were also scouting for a new producer for the upcoming new album. Mick always has a list of names at the ready, but this time he was keen on meeting with Don Was. Don Was remembers, "I knew Mick a bit, but I'd never met Keith before. I went to an audition in New York where they were trying out bass players. My interview for the job was listening to Keith tell me why he doesn't need a producer." Very quickly, Don Was became their choice. With Daryl Jones and Don Was officially locked in, the band was ready to get back to work on the album. In July, Mick, Keith, Ronnie, and Charlie continue pre-production work, but this time they regroup at Ronnie Wood's estate in Kildare, Ireland. Now at Ronnie Wood's home studio, the Stones continue to test out ideas now as a full band. The tapes from these sessions reveal a creatively rich moment for the Stones. With no shortage of ideas, the Stones open the floodgates and allow the muse to take them in rarely explored musical places. A very specific palette and texture for the album is forming.
See you
another song that was beginning to take flight in these sessions thanks to Keith was Sweethearts Together. The song Sparks Will Fly actually came about after a very rousing evening with the legendary Jerry Lee Lewis. The band had heard Jerry was in town, so they sent out word to have him come by. And Lewis did. And what came next was an incredible night of old country and early rock and roll favorites. Since microphones and recording equipment were already set up, they hit record and captured the evening's fun. Later, while listening to playback, Lewis began to pick apart the band, much to Keith's disapproval. And I looked at him and I said, Jerry, we just did a playback, you know what I mean? We ain't cutting. We were just playing. A red mist was falling, and I said, if you want to tear my band apart, your name's Lewis, right? You're from Wales? I said, my name's Richards. We're both Welsh. So I'll look into your little baby blue eyes, and you look into these two black motherfuckers, and if you want to take it outside, let's deal with it. Don't fucking chop my band up. And I left. I just stormed off and actually wrote Sparks Will Fly out of it, watching the bonfire outside.
I'm gonna stand back. The flames are high, better get help. Can't stop the vibe, hell's gonna ring. Hear the alarm. Better tell the fire chief to quit playing cards. Sparks will fly when I get myself back on me, baby.
One song does emerge from the sessions that seems to pique Keith Richards' interests. Demo work continues when the Stones return to Kildare in September. Don Was appears to have joined the sessions now, along with Daryl Jones, and the material during these sessions appear to take a turn in sound. The energy is tougher and more focused. It was clear that the album was evolving now in a new direction.
singing it straight up as a chorus. Maybe we should just like forget what I'm doing. You got it made, baby, for a long, long while.
But that should be established before we do anything, actually.
This is what
I thought that's
this
what...
is a sketch of why backup vocals should be done first. You got it made, baby, for a long, long while. You got it made, baby, for a long, long while.
Down again.
That's all we need, right?
You got it made, baby, for a long, long while. That's a good one in my range.
We're going all the way through, and we're just...
No, but the first bit, I turned you right up, thinking...
There's a thought.
I can't get me. I thought, And then I turned up number 3, which wasn't marked, and I had you blaring.
That's the main one. Yeah, but it ain't me. That wasn't me then. It was me then.
No, but my individual control was
Listen,
fucked
Ronnie,
up purely
Ronnie,
by my own hand.
Maybe therapy might help. Carry on. What are we doing?
All my friends say that.
Oh, let's have a listen. Yeah, especially the therapist friends.
Keith and the band continued to build up You Got Me Rocking. Two months later, official recording sessions begin at the famed Windmill Lane Studios in Dublin. According to session notes and tapes from these sessions, nearly none of the tracks the band cultivated in Barbados or Kildare made the cut. Only a few songs survived the long journey to Windmill Lane. Sparks Will Fly, You Got Me Rocking, Sweethearts Together, and Through. So, what happened exactly? 6 weeks of pre-production work resulting in at least 2 albums worth of ideas scrapped. It's very likely Don Was reviewed the material and was not impressed with the results. As Mick Jagger remembers, Don Was is definitely anti-groove. Charlie and I worked on a lot of groove tunes that never made it onto the record. That was the one thing I was slightly disappointed by. To this, Don Was responds, I'm certainly not anti-groove, just anti-groove without substance in the context of this album. They had a number of great grooves, but it was like, okay, what goes on top of it? Where does it go? I just felt that it's not what people were looking for from the Stones. I was looking for a sign that they can get real serious about this, still play better than anybody, and write better than anybody. The album was evolving rapidly, shedding its earlier groove-based elements in favor of a more direct and focused sound. The Glimmer Twins then got busy writing more songs to fill out the rest of the album, and Love Is Strong was one of 3 songs that Mick and Keith worked on very closely.
Hybrids, ones we worked together, Love Is Strong, Got Me Rocking, Sparks Will Fly. Those are ones that we, like, are really 50-50.
Were you working eyeball to eyeball when you did those?
Yeah. Sparks Will Fly was actually eyeball to eyeball with Charlie Watts more than anybody to start with, because we wouldn't let anybody else play on it until we'd honed down that rhythm track thing dead right, you know, because it was like three's a crowd, you know, for a minute until we'd worked it out, you know, and then let everybody else in. And then there's ones where you have like a great idea, but you don't know what to do with it. And that's usually where you start to really, you know, the collaboration will come in, because you say, well, look, I have this other piece that I don't know what to do with. Maybe would that fit with that? And you know, and that's when you get into the craft thing. But the ideas are already there, and you quite often find that actually you've written the same song. You know, he's written one bit and I've written the other, and we both thought we'd written half a song and didn't know what to do with it, but then suddenly it dovetails, you know.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll keep some right in my note.
Yeah, okay.
As one. I'll do.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Then double them up.
Yeah.
See what we get. Yeah, no, because it's a playable. I mean, this one you can really toss it around.
Yeah, as long as I know it's the same every time.
Yeah, I think there's a double one there. I mean, let me try. I mean, I'll just follow it. Yeah.
Okay.
What's really going on with you? What it is, what it is, what it is.
Meanwhile, You Got Me Rocking finally finds its shape at Windmill Lane. With Mick Jagger now in front of the vocal mic, the song is complete.
Butcher, caught in a meat. My hands were bloody. I'm dying on my feet. I was a surgeon till I stopped to shake. I wasn't falling, but you put on the brake. You got me rocking now. You got me rocking now. You got me rocking. Let's see.
Yeah.
Without you.
Back to the verse. Back to the verse. And the second verse a bit shorter.
Though the more experimental compositions from earlier sessions were left behind, experimentation still lingered in the air at Windmill Lane. On New Faces, the harpsichord played by Chuck Leavell harkens back to an earlier time in the Stones' career.
And his skin is so fair, and it shines like his hair, as he stands so aloof, with an indolent air, and an silent stare that just shudders the truth.
During these sessions, the band was pleasantly surprised that one member was particularly keen on trying new things, Charlie Watts. The unique sound on many of the drum tracks on this album is thanks to Charlie Watts playing his drums in a very unconventional place.
Just outside the studio was a stairwell. So on the first week we were in the studio, we were talking about putting some drums in there.
Don Was would say, OK, Charlie, I want you 3 floors down this time in reception. And people are coming in with FedEx packages and stuff, and Charlie's playing Happily a Wave like this. And it sounds like a thunderstorm, you know, but he's just going...
Yeah.
Very noisy, you know, keeping all the neighbours awake, don't you?
Noisy, isn't it?
Some of us are trying to get some sleep.
Righto, Dan. Right, here we go. Thank you very much. You know, recording's a very funny thing. I mean, the strangest things work very well in recording studios.
The sound it produced was incredible and fit perfectly in songs like You Got Me Rocking, Through and Through, and I Go Wild. On Moon Is Up, not only is Charlie again playing in the stairwell, but also playing on a trash can, even though it's listed in the liner notes as a mystery drum.
is up, the sun is down.
With Keith Richards' guitar going through a Leslie speaker, and Ronnie Wood's pedal steel going through a Mutron pedal, and Mick Jagger's vocal going through both a proper vocal mic and through his harmonica bullet mic, this makes Moon Is Up one of the Stones' most unique songs of their catalog.
The last take we did, I did a fill into the tom-tom, which was a mistake as far as the arrangement went, but it came off. And I tried it again here. That's when we fucked up the first intro. No. I deliberately overplayed the dun dun dun, which is the arrangement, right? So I know.
That's a pretty good take.
Yes, good take.
According to Keith Richards in his memoir Life, there was a major blowout during these sessions at Windmill, all stemming from the song I Go Wild. Ronnie and I had come back into the studio, and Mick was playing some imitation riffs on a brand new Telecaster. It was one of his songs called I Go Wild, and he was strumming sitting down. I'm told I said, "There's only 2 guitar players in the band, and you're not one of them." I probably threw it out as a joke, but it didn't connect to the funny bone for Mick. He took it the wrong way, and then it got deeper. I just laid into him, and once again, according to eyewitness accounts, we hammered each other about everything from Anita to contracts to betrayals. Don Was told me he genuinely believed that if one more word was uttered, everybody was going to get on planes and the show would be over forever. What he underestimated was that we'd been conducting the slanging match for 30 years. In the end, after maybe an hour and a half, we hugged and carried on. Like most classic Stones albums, Voodoo Lounge also showcases the band trying out different genres, from the Elizabethan New Faces to the strange Moon Is Up. There's still room for a little country, thanks to Keith. His song The Worst features some of the best harmonies by the Glimmer Twins to ever appear on tape.
Somewhere outside our true lover's side now, it's a tragedy.
Now, there's parts like where Ronnie will play a pedal steel.
Yeah.
Whose idea would that be then?
I did. I'll claim credit to because I knew he had one around. I said, "Where's that pedal steel of yours, Ron?" Yeah. Because Ronnie, I mean, he'd been able. He said he hadn't played it for like years, 4 years, but he was always very good on it. And so,
yeah.
I thought, well, that's another sound that that you can use. And so I just got him. I encouraged him to get back in.
Dressed in white, see baby gonna stay all night. Cocaine all around my brain. The undercover baby all dressed in blue. See baby what you gonna do. Cocaine all around my brain. Baby, come here quick. This old cocaine's a making me sick. Cocaine all around my brain.
Recording sessions continued through December of 1993 with the band breaking for the holidays at the end of the year. Work picked up again in January of the new year. with the Stones gathering in LA for final rounds of overdubs and then mixing, with the whole process coming to a close finally in February.
Three's a really good pass.
And with that, the album was finished, but a name for the album was still needed. Keith writes about this in his book Life. While out on a late-night cigarette run back in Barbados, Keith befriended a stranded, hurt kitten during a torrential rainfall. The kitten followed Keith home, and Keith nursed it back to health. Impressed by its determination, he named it Voodoo. The kitten stayed out on the terrace, which Keith later named Voodoo's Lounge. Voodoo Lounge was released on July 11th, 1994. The album opened at number 2 in the US rock charts, eventually going double platinum, while it went to number 1 in the UK. The Stones kicked off the Voodoo Lounge tour in August, which continued through the following year, playing across North and South America, Europe, and Japan. In February of 1995, Voodoo Lounge brought the Stones a Grammy win, winning Best Rock Album and also Best Music Video for the song Love Is Strong, which was directed by the great David Fincher. And in the preceding years, how did the band feel about the album? According to Mick, it's very much a kind of time and place album. In that way, I was quite pleased with the results. But there were a lot of things that we wrote for Voodoo Lounge that Don steered us away from. Groove songs, African influences, and things like that. And he steered us away, very clear of all that. And I think it was a mistake. He tried to remake Eggs on Main Street or something like that. Plus, the engineer was also trying to do the same thing. Their mindset about it was just too retro. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it inherently, but they went over the top. They'd gone too far. I didn't really fight it in the end. I gave up because there was no point in it. I think both Charlie and I didn't really like it, but we could see that that was the direction you could go, and it might be successful. I don't think it was really that successful because I don't think there's any point in having these over-retro references. I think it was an opportunity missed to go in another direction, which would have been more unusual, a little more radical, although it's always going to sound like the Rolling Stones. Keith also observed Mick's disappointment, as he wrote in his book Life. It was Mick who had originally got a hold of Don Was. Mick had always wanted to work with Don because Don is a groove producer. It's groove, dance hall music. And when we'd finished Voodoo Lounge, Mick said he wouldn't work with Don again because he'd hired him to be a groove producer, and Don wanted to make Exile on Main Street, and Mick wanted to make Prince the Black Album or something. Mick, again, wanted what he heard in the club last night. Mick's biggest fear at the time, as he kept on telling the press, was to be pigeonholed, as he put it, to Exile on Main Street. But Don Was more interested in protecting the legacy of what was good about the Stones. He didn't want to do anything that was below the standard of that stuff from the late 60s and early 70s era. Why did Mick fear Exile? It was too good. That's why. Whenever I heard, oh, we don't want to go back and recreate Exile on Main Street, I thought, I wish you fucking could, pal. Despite Mick's disappointments, Voodoo Lounge was the start of a long relationship with Don Was. Was stayed on as the Stones' producer for their next 4 studio albums, 3 of which were Grammy nominated, with Blue and Lonesome taking home the Grammy for Best Traditional Blues Album. While the album was lost among the Stones' other seminal works, the song Through and Through was rescued from obscurity when it was featured in the season 2 finale of The Sopranos. Voodoo Lounge was more than just another record. It sparked a very prolific period for the band. The album was the Stones making a bold statement as they entered the 1990s. After 30 years as a rock and roll band, they were navigating big changes. Bill Wyman leaving the band, Daryl Jones joining on bass, and welcoming Don Was as their new producer. The album stands as a testament to their resilience and determination. Even 3 decades later, the Stones are still out there, occasionally pulling out tracks from Voodoo Lounge on stage. The magic and power that has kept them together for so long remains intact, still reminding us why they're such a beautiful team.
Close.